Yeah, I'll try to speak as loud as I can. My microphone isn't that good a microphone. Okay, tonight, just for the fun of it, we're just going to speak about the photons. Yeah, photon and electricity. Now, in the background, you hear the kids yelling because they're having fun. And that's actually human nature, and it makes you feel so good when they're having fun. They're out there having fun. Okay. Let me introduce myself. I'm Shonika Rishi Das, disciple of Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, who is the founder of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Now, I'm just trying to see or present something that is generally classified as religious, but in a scientific way. Right? So, we have the light wave, okay, the light wave. Now, many people are always discussing whether the light wave is just a frequency or is it a particle, frequency or particle. Well, from my standpoint of view, it's both. So what they call the particle, they call it a photon. You know, P-H-O-T-O-N, photon. So that photon is you can see a photon is just like a dot, a particle. It's not pervading the whole thing, whereas the light is actually pervading. Actually, it's filling up the whole space, you know. We're just captivating one part of the frequency, but it's filling up the whole space. So what we're going to call this, the frequency, we're going to call the projected frequency. This is projected frequency. Projected frequency, projected realization, projected. It's by its power, it projects. And of course, this photon, it receives, but it is in the reflective. It is receiving the reflected energy. Not the original projected energy. This here has the force to give a full spectrum of projected energy. This only has the ability to identify a reflected energy which it's in at a moment. So just taking this to be, this is, sometimes I just use the local and the universal terminology God. Okay, projected energy is godlike or God. We can identify it as godlike or God. It has full spectrum. It is everywhere. Whereas a particle, this one particle is not everywhere. It is in a designated place. So both energies are the same. One is the same but small, very small. And one is the same but it's unmeasurable. It's all pervasive. The name Vishnu means all pervasive. It's all pervasive. Projected is all pervasive. So how would, because this is like a subtlety. If you know that it's electricity, you know a lot of qualities of electricity. one quality is positive, negative, and being able to to measure it. Another quality is the frequency that it goes, whether it's how many waves per second and everything, and how strong it is. So this is like very measurable. This is incredibly measurable. So this can be unlimited if you take all of it together. This is unlimited. It's unlimited in all those aspects. But when you're considering just one little old photon or a few photons on that frequency, then we can say it's in some way localized. It's personal. So what could depict this small photon? And why does it appear different and act different, like a particle? It's localized only. Well, the reason is self-encapsulation. In other words, I have self-encapsulated myself. I have restrained myself. Why? Because I negate being part of this. I know it exists, but I negate being part of the whole and part of the whole energy. I negate being part of it. But that negation is impossible because I am part of the whole. So the whole is conscious of my desire, and the whole is only depending on love, which is given independently, not forcibly, independently. So to be able to answer my desire to be as forceful as the wave, then I have to be separated, incarcerated. I can't see this wave. This wave would make me even worse against it. Oh, the wave is so powerful, the wave can do this, the wave can do that. But this would make me very angry. I'd never develop any love for it. So he incarcerates me. But he never leaves me. I ride with him all the time, not knowing that if I was able to totally negate him and say he does not exist, I would stop existing. That's the big problem. If you can negate and totally show non-existence of a God in the real sense, non-existent of God, then you would disappear. Not just he, but you would disappear because you are part. You're just incarcerated now. Self-incarcerated, self-encapsulated. I cannot see. But whatever I do see, I see it riding on the projected energy. This projected energy in the scriptures is called a yantra. We ride on a yantra. Yeah, we ride on a yantra. Yeah, so we are riding on a yantra, going down our way. And here we are, trying to negate, or sometimes we want just a little bit to know the Supreme Lord, but not really just to give in and give all our love. So either way, we depend on him totally. Without him, we don't have any existence. So this is immeasurable. And the energy that I'm giving off is measurable. So although the projected energy is, you could say, the most humble, he allows you to stay on the yantra which is a part of him. And you're trying to do damage to the yantra. But this is his humility. He only wants your love. Anyways, that is the object of the whole game. Only love. Independent love. So, here, we got, if I look at something, I am not able to have projected energy. Projected energy will give the real vision of the object, whereas reflected energy is only what is being reflected back to me. So all my senses, the sense of hearing, the sense of seeing, the sense of feeling, the sense of tasting, and the sense of smelling, they're all dependent on reflected energy. So they are not able to be calculated in the right way. I'm getting reflected. And because my vision isn't complete, it's not able to distinguish everything nicely. Whereas projective energy does. When the photon, the rebellious photon, when it does want to love God, and it becomes a part of this projected energy, it doesn't lose identity. Its identity, its individual identity is not lost. The individual identity is never lost. It's just seen like a little point here, but it could be a beautiful personality. So many things it could be. So now, once in union with the projected energy, we see with projected vision. We see we hear with projected vision. We feel with projected vision. We see with projected vision. We taste with projected vision, and we smell with projected vision. No longer is it reflected. So the electrical difference, like you've got a meter at the house, right? It tells you everything about what you're using and how much you're using and how much it's going to cost and everything. Okay, that's all right. But how in the world is that related to this? The relationship is not what you would expect. The relationship, the person would, generally a religion will say, oh, the bad part is those people who do immoral things and do, act immorally and everything. Immorally. What isn't like that? I hate to say it, but this land of work, if you want to get out of this land of work and be able to have a personal love with God, you have to give up this crime of wanting to be rich and everything like this. Very prosperous, rich, happy, satisfied. I probably lost half of the audience. You'd have to give up that if you really want to progress. Because no matter whether it's considered a pious act or if it's considered an impious act, this is not the measurement that's used by the projected energy. This energy is not pious or impious energy. This is spiritual energy. Pious and impious, not in this category. It is not there. So the projected energy is beyond that. It's only dedicated to love of Godhead. That's all. In the case of a pious activity and good morality, the person is just looking for a good place after death. And in impious, they're looking for a bad place after death. So what we do is we create a noose, right? Usually nooses have about 13 rounds. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay, you've made noose. You've made noose around your neck. But you've made a noose around your neck with pious and impious. Doesn't matter. Because they're not part of love of Godhead. Pure love of Godhead is not dependent on pious or impious. So morality is actually a stumbling block for love of God. Morality. I'm not saying everybody be immoral, but at least look over the situation a little bit more. So now, the major part of the projected energy is to measure our energy. Just like this machine measures everything in your electricity in your house, also this is measuring everything. How much deviation is there? You don't have to. Read a book, study, see, because some people say this shouldn't be done, this is very sinful, and this shouldn't be done. And there's so much discussion. Well, how can you tell? Very easy. Well, there's one way you can tell real easy. At the point of death, how much fear you have and how much pain and how much it feels like heat. Okay? So, let's at least examine the heat. So where is the accumulation of heat? You can see the accumulation of heat in your bones. You know, when you're getting older, the accumulation of heat is painful. Heat is painful. So what is this heat? It's a deviation from the original position of this. I can be observing projected energy by reflected waves. Okay, but if I deviate, whatever deviation I do, because we're not alone. We're not alone. I'm riding with Him. Throughout my whole body, I'm riding with Him. I don't just sit in one place of the body. I'm riding, and also His energy is riding through all my body. Now His energy is giving the rightful signal to your whole body on how to work. And I'm deviating, so that signal is crisscrossing. That makes an electrical shock. And those electrical shocks are deposited throughout your whole body. Generally, it's deposited in places that was agitated or misused, and then those places have more of the heat. And I'm telling you, it's very much heat. It's not a small heat. And at the point of death, when it comes, it feels like you're burning up inside. So these are the deviations. And the deviations come out because as we are traveling with the projected energy, we are giving trouble. We are giving trouble. He's helping us out. And He is trying to get us on the right path all the time. He never leaves us. But we are creating energy within our body that's captured. Because the body doesn't know what to do with that energy. Where should I send that energy? Where's the dumping ground of that energy? If there's no activity to get the energy out, then very painful. Like that one exercise that I've been showing the persons, the brahmachari exercise. When your foot is on the ground, this portion of the foot, it feels like burning like anything. Especially for me, 77 years old, and I just started doing the exercise. So there's much accumulated heat within my nerves. Right here, there's much accumulated heat within my nerves. And then when I'm sitting in that posture, this is flat on the ground being hurt. But that pain, I am actually enjoying that pain in the way that I know that it's destroying. They're like crystals. Crystals. They're crystals. They accumulate in crystals, these electrical charges. And they can make so much damage. And they lower the body charge. I'm going to try to find a video that has an incredible statement about our body charge. And when our body charge goes down too far, this is an incredible natural occurrence that I'd never heard of. When your body current, your body charge goes down to a certain point, it flips from positive to negative and negative to positive. Understand? It is flipped over from what is supposed to be to what. So in the terminology of different cells in the body, the DNA pretty sure at the end of the DNA, like baggage cars, there's a telomere, okay. Well, there's a portion at the end. At the end, that portion is it has within like a blueprint, not just one blueprint. It has 3 blueprints from what they know of. Telomeres, that's it. Telomere. The telomere has 4 blueprints, but it's using only one at a time. So when you're born, it uses a blueprint. So it's calling different cells to, help you develop and everything. Then when you're just maintaining your body, it's got the other one going, the other blueprints in there. But sometimes you've done an activity that is so negative that it throws in one that's destructive. Your energy falls to a point so bad that negative goes to positive and positive goes to negative. So what happens, this is incredible, the alarm goes off through the whole body, and it's a red alarm, it's a red alert. Oh, we're going to die. But the stem cells, understand, the stem cells that help you build this body at the beginning, all of a sudden they see the enemy as the one that needs the help. Yep. Just considering cancer, they'll go to the cancer cell and help it out. So it goes into a destructive mode, which is practically impossible to pull out, because it goes to an energy level where malignant cells are the prominent look after of all the body. The body wants to take care of the malignant cells. So what can you do? Your body is now timed because you allowed your energy to go to such a negative extent. Okay? So, don't get into the negative extent, because that's it. You've lost the whole thing. So, I'll try to find that video and I'll put it up and everything where he explains this. Hope I can find it. Very good. This is like an eye-opener. So I could say easily, I can tell you what's sinful and what's not sinful just by the accumulation of pain within your nerves. Just by measuring the flow of the energy within your body. Oh, you should not do that, you should do this. Because everything isn't such a rigid pattern. You know, it's not a rigid pattern. It's and the one that's the most aware of this fact that it's not a you know, like a rigid factor. It's very sublime, very much changeable. It changes for the times. It changes for the person's development. It changes. So, and the only measurement that it wants to see is that measurement which is giving trouble to pure love of God, and that measurement which is enhancing pure love of God. And that's all it wants to see. It doesn't matter pious or impious activities. What matters is it helping me to develop love of God? Or is it not helping me to develop love of God? And how to obtain it. So now it is the object of the people to look into the fact and try to find what helps me develop my love of God. I don't want to run around like a photon for so many lifetimes, and I'm not kidding you. This is like so many lifetimes. If you would ask Einstein or any scientist like that, they know this goes on for so many lifetimes. Don't think that it's only one lifetime. No way that it could be only one lifetime. And so you don't want to make a noose, because the more of a noose you make, the more pain you're going to have. The more of the noose you make, the more pain you're going to have. It's all electrically measured. God has got it down to a science. We try to imitate because we're the reflected. We're seeing the reflection of this. We aren't able to reproduce this. We can't measure this, but they know it's there. They know that it's coming from the, you know, like right where your ribs come together at like a top part. Right there, this energy is coming and is directed to the pineal gland. The only way that they know it's there, and they know there's a connection, and they know there's some energy going, is that the pineal gland gives some detection. Because here's where I'm getting the reflected. I'm getting reflected. I'm not solely connected to projected. I'm only dependent on reflected. I'm actually fearful to be only on the projected energy. I wouldn't know how to deal with it. So it's measurable. They know that here a signal is coming out, and they know here in the pineal gland the signal is being received, and there's some changes being made. Okay, let's see if that. Any questions? Any questions? Anything against it? Now you can put on a commentary and everything, but I'll try to remember to find that video, and I know you'll like it. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Yeah. I still think the best part of all this was the kids yelling outside. Without the kids yelling outside, we don't know this is the earth. Yes.